When people have difficulties in their lives, it is necessary to help them. That's what my wife always said, and that's why I thought she was a kind woman, and that's why I fell in love with her. About a year ago, my wife Julia received a message from a friend that her husband had kicked her out of the house. She asked me to help her friend and take her in with us. I couldn't refuse, because I still love my wife. We have been married for 15 years, and I used to trust her, although I accepted the news with a little disappointment, because the prospect of living under the same roof with a stranger did not appeal to me too much. At the same time, I knew my wife's friend. Her name is Lena. She is the same age as my wife and I. We are 37 years old. He and his wife went to school together, so they knew each other well. She is a beautiful woman who wears rather revealing outfits and allows herself all sorts of frivolities. Naturally, in moderation. When Lena moved in with us, everything was relatively good. Of course, our way of life has changed a lot, but I could not suspect that this woman could harm me in any way or throw away what she did. But in vain. It all started with, in my opinion, innocent jokes, when the ladies exchanged winks and obscenities. I've noticed this before, so I didn't react at all. In general, I decided to stick to neutrality and began to be at home less, because my friends were constantly negotiating in the house and seemed to be deliberately interfering with my work. Sometimes I take work from home and have to spend time there too, of course. In such conditions I also began to get nervous because of the constant presence of an outsider in the house. It wasn't enough for me that she moved in with us, so she also doesn't work, and she and my wife, like two housewives, can spend all their time together. It was probably a kind of paradise for them, but to me all these movements of an incomprehensible nature seemed like a real feminine hell. Moreover, after a couple of weeks, I began to notice that my wife was cooling off towards me, and I did not know exactly what was going on. When I tried to get her to talk, she started to deny it and said that she was just tired because of such permutations and her friends moved us. When I asked when she would leave our house, the answer was vague. She said that there were still chances of reconciliation with her husband, and that she was actively working on it. So I calmed down a bit. One day I felt sick at work, and I came not just earlier than usual, but generally around lunch. I opened the door with my key, I went in, and there, how can I describe it in words? There was a scene from an adult film in which there are only actresses, but there are no actors. The participants in this process were my faithful and her friend. When they saw me, they scattered in different directions. The wife began to apologize, and her friend ran into another room to get dressed. After that, my wife, seeing my reaction, abruptly changed her tone, thinking that my shock and lack of words could be interpreted as weakness, and turned into an attack. Did she really think she could turn me around as she wanted? She said she would take my apartment away from me and kick me out with my things, since I couldn't even give any reaction to what she had done. Did she add that I was a weakling, and at the same time said that her friend was better in bed than me? I was so shocked that I didn't even know how to react to it. It hurt me, and I immediately wanted to hit her, but I refrained. And I don't think my conscience or any moral standards were involved. I just felt really bad, and everything was aggravated by the stress I experienced. I just wanted to lie down and die, or at least have a drink and rest. For a start, the second one would be quite suitable. I could not even imagine that my woman would cheat on me, and even with whom to cheat, with another woman, not with some handsome guy from her gym, a swimming coach, or any other guy the first can imagine her with. I lived with a person for 15 years and did not know about her inclinations, since she and a friend she knew from school, how much these two could mess with my brains. All the time, the more I thought about it, the more furious I became. On the first day after the incident, I just kicked my wife and girlfriend out into the street and did what I planned. I just had a drink and didn't want to have anything to do with it. As the ancients and the wise said, and it will pass. Moreover, I didn't want to think about where they would both be hanging out and what to do. It was none of my business anymore, I didn't care at all. After the incident, I decided to visit my friend's ex-husband and ask him about the reason for the divorce, and at the same time come up with a revenge plan with our wife. After all, I believed that his lady of the heart was caught by him on something like this. When my wife settled with a friend, she did not specify the reason for the divorce and only said that her friend's husband was crazy. But yes, of course, that's how I believed it. Anyway, I talked to that guy, and he turned out to be quite sane. His wife was cheating on him, but with some man with whom he found her at home. It turned out that this lady likes to throw herself on men's necks and does not lose the opportunity to get into bed with women. After we talked, we decided to take revenge on our former faithful. Everything was arranged quite simply. Allegedly, according to rumors, the ex-husband of a friend found out that she and my wife had nowhere to live. He took pity on them and offered his own living space until they found a rented apartment. And, of course, he said that he would live separately for now. When the ladies checked in, we decided to give them a little surprise. We came to them both in the evening, opened the door with a key. And what kind of picture do you think you found? Yes, for them to be so active with us, there is no conscience at all. In general, when they both gathered with their belongings, we gave them a little slap on the neck and kicked them out into the street, but without their belongings, which was the main plan of revenge. My friend's ex-husband turned out to be a lawyer, so it was not difficult for us to leave our ex-wives without a penny and our property. Moreover, I made out some things only for myself. And my wife and I got married when I already had most of what I have now. In general, since the divorce, my life has become much easier. What to do to her, being a housewife, was not the first freshness. I did not care in any way. I heard that he and his girlfriend have now found some kind of job to support themselves. They earn pennies and rent a corner on the very edge of the city. Without constant cosmetic care and my expensive wardrobe, my wife no longer looks as attractive as she once did. Recently, she called and asked for help, because the salary is not enough for anything, and I came to them, looked at how they live and realized that I could not refuse, because even she does not deserve such conditions. In memory of our marriage, I gave her the last rather large sum of money, and after that I told her not to call me anymore. Quite a long time has passed since then. I am happy with my new wife, who is not sitting on my neck and is engaged in her own business. My friend's ex-husband, whose name is Ivan, by the way, turned out to be a great guy, and now we are friends. His personal life got better even earlier than mine. We see each other a lot now with our wives, and I'm pretty sure they're not interested in each other.